Hi everyone! In this episode I will show you how to make Arabic bread, or better known as aish beledi. The real tasty and soft. It took me many trials to discover the taste I craved for, the one I used to eat while living in Cairo. And you will ask me, what is so special about aish beledi? Well, aish beledi is unique to Egypt. Of course, you can eat pita bread all over the world, but Egyptian pita bread is something else. It's made fresh several times a day all throughout the country, and it contains whole wheat, which is very healthy and it gives special taste. After many trials, I perfected my own recipe, and today I will share it with you. So let's get to work. So this is what we need for today's aish beledi. 300 gram of whole wheat flour, 125 gram of all-purpose flour, 75 gram of pastry flour, a pinch of sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt. You need dry yeast 10 gram, or you need fresh yeast, the amount for 500 gram of flour, and lukewarm water. First, I put some lukewarm water here in this bowl, and now I will add the dry yeast inside together with the pinch of sugar. And why sugar? The sugar actually helps the yeast to develop better. Take care, just if the water is too hot, it can kill the yeast, and if it's too cold, the yeast will not be activated. So stir it well and wait for about 10 to 15 minutes. To use the time while the yeast is rising, mix all dry ingredients together, so whole wheat flour, all-purpose flour, pastry flour, and 1 teaspoon of salt. Remember not to put salt together with the yeast, as the dough might not rise that well, which means to mix the salt with the flour before, and after add to that mixture the yeast that has already risen. After the yeast has risen, add it slowly to the dry ingredients. As you can see, I made a small hole inside of the flour. Keep adding the water to combine it well until you get the firm texture of the dough itself. When the dough is well combined, transfer it to the flat surface and knead it with your hands until it becomes firm. If it's too soft, add a little bit of flour. And try to mix by hand, because the friction from using a machine heats it up and the bread will be more chewy than actually doing it by hand. And the dough should actually look like this. In the end, put it in a bowl, cover it with a cloth, and leave it for an hour to rise, if possible, somewhere warm. When the dough has risen, knead it a little bit more, just for a few seconds, and start forming the small balls. I usually form 8 balls from this amount of dough and put them aside. When you make already the 8 small balls, cover them again with a cloth and wait for 20 minutes to rise. After an hour, as you can see, our balls have risen very nicely. Put just a little bit of flour on the surface. Take one ball and roll it in one flat round circle. The thickness should be around 3 to 4 millimeter. In Egypt they roll the bread on rada, which is an English brand, but my flour already contains it, so I use it. Do the same with the rest of the balls and leave them aside while you warm the pan. This is how the flatbreads should look like before putting them on a pan. So, as you can see, I'm using the combination of electric and gas stove. This metal net that you see on the left side I bought it in a normal supermarket as this serving net for hot food. So the procedure is like this. You put one bread on the pan, which is already hot, and wait for, let's say, 15 to 20 seconds until the pores close. Then flip it on the other side after 15 to 20 seconds and transfer it to the net on the left. Now the pan is empty, so put another bread on it and wait again 15 to 20 seconds and flip it again. If the bread on the net is not finished while you finished flipping the bread on the pan, simply put the bread from the pan aside and start with another. And when the bread from the net is finished, the one you put aside simply put on the net. The bread will succeed the same. If you notice on the surface the holes with the hot air going out, simply press on that side with a spatula to close the holes for the rest of the pouch to be inflated. And that's it. You learned how to make Arabic bread. Now go and make it. I hope you liked today's recipe for Arabic bread, and let me know your comments down below in the comment section, and don't forget to like and subscribe and press that little bell to be notified whenever my new video comes out. Sofra Haneya, bon appetit!